In the spirit of reconciliation, Up Past Bedtime would like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of all the incredible lands in which we record this podcast. By extension, we pay our respects to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples, their past and present elders, and the connection they have to Australia's land, sea, and community. Before we dive into tonight's After Dark chat, let's set the mood, shall we? This bonus episode is brought to you by Libido, the female-founded brand that is changing the way women experience pleasure. Their mission: to make sensuality something to be celebrated, not hidden away. And speaking of not hiding things, can we talk about their essential vibe for a second? She's chic, completely external, and designed to sit proudly on your bedside table, not shoved away in a drawer like a dirty little secret. Libido creates pleasure products that feel just as beautiful as they are powerful, thoughtfully designed by women, for women. No shame, no cringe, just pure confidence in your body and what feels good. So if you've been curious, take this as your sign. Head to www.mylbdo.com and use the code UPB20 for a little something off your order. That's code UPB20 at checkout. You'll find these details all in my show notes too. Go on, treat yourself to some main character energy. Hello besties, welcome back to episode 2 of After Dark with Up Past Bedtime. This is this season's little bonus segment. Our season 3 is quite self-help heavy. It has quite a lot of deep sort of topics that are being discussed in it, which I think is very fun and very important, but I didn't want to lose the sort of cheeky, girly chat, light, airy-fairy aspect of Up Past Bedtime. So here we are. This is the After Dark segment, which is just all about us having a little bit of a girl chat, having a bit of fun, having a bit of connection, and not taking things so seriously. We did Truth or Drink last episode, and this episode I asked on the Up Past Bedtime Instagram stories, what are things that you as women think about but you're too scared to talk about? And I told you, submit what you thought and I would discuss. I would take one for the team and open up the floor to all the topics that I know you guys want to talk about, but maybe for a whole bunch of reasons, you feel a bit too shy to talk about. So let's do it.
Let's go.
Welcome to Up Past Bedtime After Dark. I'm Bella Messina, and this is your official invite to the group chat we do not screenshot. We're talking late night chaos, unfiltered confessions, and all the stuff that's too spicy for the main feed. So grab your wine, hide from your kids, and let's get into the good stuff, because what happens after dark stays between us, bestie. You guys definitely did not hold back on some of these. I am just kind of going to go through at random and we're going to start talking about some of them. I will try and talk about ones that I can weigh in on or share experiences on. Of course, I can only talk about from my opinion. I don't know, if you have an opinion different to mine, feel free to leave it in the comments and we can discuss it more there. But yeah, you guys sent in, no joke, hundreds of submissions. So there's lots of things you girlies want to share, but you're just too scared to. Someone said, wanting to try new things in the bedroom, but too nervous to bring it up. A 12-year relationship and married. This one, I understand how it can be a bit nerve-wracking, especially when you've been with someone for such a long time. I am sure there are routines and habits and just comfort zones that you're in. But I'm also a big believer in you should be having the best time sexually and you should be living your best life and doing all the things you want to do. And so unfortunately, part of that is just ripping the Band-Aid off and having the awkward conversation and just being hey, I want to try this. Would you be open to that? Sometimes the best way to do that with a man is actually after sex. Men are usually very relaxed, very open after sex. So it is kind of a good segue to be hey,
would you consider next time maybe we could try this? Or like, would you be interested if we looked into this? Another good thing could be watching TV shows or listening to music or reading books that kind of touch on things that you want to explore to kind of get, the topic open and ready for discussion. This one, I feel like there is no easy way around other than communication, which can feel awkward and feel clunky. And maybe you don't want to do that when you've been with someone so long, but I think it's really important. Risk versus reward on this one. Risk, what's the worst they can say? No. Reward, what's the best they can say? Yes. And you're living your best life. So yeah, I would say, trust me, every single relationship that has a very nice, spicy sex life has at some point or another involved an awkward conversation. Someone said, my BFF has had an affair on her husband and I feel burdened with her secret. Girl, dub her in. I'm sorry, guys. I don't care if you are my best friend in the world. If you tell me you're cheating, either you dob yourself in or I'm dobbing you in. And I would be saying that. I would be like, you have a timeline. I'm going to give you a week to fess up. And if you don't, I'm fessing up, because I just do not think that that is a secret that you should have to hold for them and hide for them. And honestly, I would never want my best friend to be comfortable enough to think that they could tell me they were having an affair and I would just cop that. If my friend told me they were having an affair, I would be like, okay, we need to have an intervention, because what the heck is going on with you? What is happening in your marriage? What is happening with you that this is the steps you're going to take? Because this is not well. Like, if you are not in your relationship anymore, you're not in love, you're not married, okay, let's start the process of ending that. Otherwise, what's going on here? Because this is a mess and no one deserves to be treated that way. And I would hope that my best friend knew that as well and had better standards than thinking it was okay to treat someone that way and do that to someone. Yes, I would not be hiding that for a friend. I'm sorry. I just wouldn't. You're getting dobbed in. Either way, if I had like a partner and I found out one of his friends were cheating, I'm also dobbing them in. I'm dobbing everyone in. Don't cheat around me. I'll dob you in. And I have before. I've dobbed people in before. People know I'm not a safe space when it comes to cheating. I'll tell you in a second. Someone else said, I'm missing and craving my pre-kids married life, fantasizing about a week of frivolous, carefree fun. I think there is a lot of shame that gets put on people when they have like times where they're like, oh, I miss when I didn't have kids, or I miss when I wasn't married. And I just don't think there should be. I think it actually is kind of normal, and it doesn't mean that you're a bad mother or a bad wife. I think everyone has times where they look at their life and, wish they could take a little break or change a few things. I don't think it's like, when people say this to me, I'm like, I don't think you actually miss not having your kids or you actually miss not being married. You're just feeling overwhelmed with responsibility. Right? And I feel like everyone has that, and that is very normal. Like, I think you probably very deeply love your children and your husband, and you do not want to be without them, but you're just feeling overwhelmed with the responsibility that comes with the role of being a mother and being a long-term partner / wife. And you're just thinking like, I wish I could just go away and have no responsibilities for a little while and have a break. And that's normal, because the mental load on women is a lot. Okay, that doesn't make you a bad person. Just means that you probably have a bit too much on your plate right now, and maybe you need to relieve the pressure a little bit. If you're thinking like, oh, I wish I could like run away from my life, you might need to sit down with the people in your life and have a discussion of, hey, I'm feeling really overwhelmed. I'm feeling like this is all too much and I don't want to feel this way because I love you all and I want to be here. What can we do that could maybe relieve the pressure on me a little bit so I don't feel that way? And there's nothing shameful in having that conversation and asking for that. Someone asked, are the girlies okay with a new partner having a friendship with an ex-friends with benefits? Me personally, no. I feel like an ex-girlfriend, I'm like, yeah, you can be friends with an ex-girlfriend, like friendly with an ex-girlfriend. I think it would be a bit strange if you were like best friends with an ex-girlfriend, because I feel like you've explored that territory and you know it didn't work out. Friends with benefits, that's because I'm like, is there unexplored feelings there because you were never in an actual relationship, blah, blah, blah. Like, I don't know, it just seems very like unclosed to me, like too many open ends. You know what I'm saying? Like, to me, that seems a bit murky. So I feel like I would be very uncomfortable with that. Like, slay that he told you. I mean, bare minimum, but props to that. Well, I don't know. It would make me very uncomfortable. But then I also think it is not right to tell a partner who he can and can't be friends with. You know, like he should just probably not want that person in his life for the same reason. But then again, there's so many ins and outs to this. I don't have enough information. My first response is to say, I don't like that. That makes me uncomfortable. But I also have very limited information. But to me, it just seems like, I don't know, friends with benefits seems too murky. Like, yeah, nah. I feel ashamed to talk about not enjoying sex with my partner. Before kids, it was fine, but now it feels like a chore. This is a complex one because there's many different reasons. The thing that concerns me is like, before kids, it was fine. What's that descriptor? Fine. I feel like when you're describing something you really like, you're not really saying fine, right? You're probably meant to say like, it was great, or it was the best, or we had a great time. And now it feels like a chore. I would be leaning towards, well, you're probably a bit touched out. You're probably a bit overwhelmed. It's normal to have a drop in your libido after having children. It's actually like a protective mechanism the body does. You know, how old are your kids? Why do you feel that way? But when I see like before kids, it was fine, I'm like, oh, girl. Fine? I don't know. Maybe this comes down to something that has nothing to do with kids. Maybe you don't feel like your needs are getting met and they haven't really ever been getting met. And then now you have kids, you feel like they're really not getting met sexually. And so now you're like, oh, I don't want to do this. I don't know. Maybe you feel like he's not putting in enough effort. He's not meeting you halfway. The hard thing is anything that comes to intimacy, I personally believe it all comes down to communication. And I feel like if ever there is a problem, it is a lack of communication with each other or a lack of communication with yourself. I know it is very easy to also go into denial when it comes to problems with intimacy and just want to like ignore them, pretend they're not a real thing because it can feel a bit awkward and yucky to have those discussions even with yourself. But yes, a bit of a red flag that you said it was fine before kids. Like we want great. We want spicy. We want orgasmic. We don't want fine, you know? Someone said comparing to others' career and financial success. The comparison game is a big one. And I think pretty much everyone plays comparison regularly and we just don't often talk about it. Okay. I think it's normal to look at others and feel jealous of some of the success and moves they're making. My personal belief on this topic though is looking at someone else is not going to get you anywhere, right? Like it's just putting energy into someone else. So you're sitting there being jealous and wasting energy that you could be putting on yourself to get you where you want to go. I'm a big believer, massive believer in just keeping my blinkers on and looking in my own lane. Like I'm in a career where it's so easy for comparison, right? Because all of our metrics are public. You can see people's engagement. You can see people's follower counts. It's very easy. Oh, you can also see the brands that people are working with and the things they're doing. It's so easy to sit there and want to be jealous. And I just try and remind myself I got to not look sideways. Sometimes also what I find is helpful is if I think someone's doing really well in like a career sense, I ask them some questions. Hey, how'd you do that? What did you find about this? Like, I don't think there is any shame in saying like, I really respect how you did X, Y, and Z. Like, can you give me some tips on how I could do that or how I could, equate that across or like what's some advice you would have? Like men do that all the time. I promise you in a career sense, men are always getting advice and tips off each other. And for some reason, women don't feel comfortable doing that. So yeah, if it's someone you know, why don't you ask them, hey, what's your advice? Hey, how did you get there? Hey, how did you achieve X, Y, and Z? You might be surprised with what they come back with. You might be surprised that they might be very willing to help you and give you advice. Okay, on a topic someone thinks about but feels too afraid to talk about is the comparison in motherhood and feeling like a bad mum. Oof, bad mum guilt or just mum guilt in general. I think we all go through it. I regularly have periods where I totally spin out and crash out about whether or not I'm a bad mum or if I'm doing a good enough job as a mother. I think that is unfortunately the catch-22 of wanting to be a good mother is we are constantly critiquing and analysing how we're doing because we want to be doing it well, right? If you didn't really care how your results were, you're not really doing that, are you? You're not really thinking about, am I a bad mum? Because you don't care either way. When you really care and it's something you want to be doing the best in, I would assume you're always going to be reflecting and analysing how you're doing. And unfortunately, we end up being our own worst critics. It's also then, magnified when, our children are the people we love more than anything else in the world. So we have the highest standard ever for our children. So then we're extra harsh on ourselves because we're like, our children are amazing. I love them so deeply. I want the best for them. So then you're going to be critiquing yourself with the lens of wanting the best for your child. I think, it's very normal to have seasons of doubt and to compare to other mothers. I compare to other mothers all day, every day. All day, every day, especially in my job, I'm talking to mothers all day, every day. I constantly, get guilt thinking that I'm not doing enough. And I think I just have to remind myself that if you are worried about how you are impacting your kids, you're already doing better than most people. Like I said before, and I think it's a very common thing that's said on social media, bad mums don't worry about being bad mums. I think the fact that you want to be better and do better shows how much you care. And that's a really great thing to reflect on and remind yourself of. And I think it's also important to remember there is no such thing as the perfect mother. Unfortunately, it doesn't exist because there's no such thing as the perfect human. Everyone makes mistakes. It's shitty. It's a very shitty reality, but it is the truth. There is always going to be bad days and bad choices and bad actions. That's just a reality of the situation. You're never going to get everything perfect and you're never going to be the perfect mum. You can be the best mum that you can be, but you're never going to be perfect. That's okay. Someone said, feeling grossly unattractive after kids, not just weight, but looking different somehow. Oh, I wish I could just give you a big cuddle. Well, I know this isn't very helpful and I don't want to be invalidating, but the first step is, well, if you're thinking of yourself as grossly unattractive, you're probably going to look at yourself and think you're grossly unattractive. Mindset is a massive part of confidence and attractiveness and feeling your best. I think when you love on yourself and prioritize yourself, you just give off a better energy and can feel more attractive. But it's very real to, after kids, just feel very disconnected with who you are. Especially, having kids is so transformative, right? It's so transformative. So physically and mentally, you're not going to be the same, right? And if you, was very tied to your old identity and your old look, it could be hard to come to terms with the fact that that has changed and it was always going to change. And unfortunately, that's a reality of having kids. I don't think anyone can look exactly like they did before having kids because, your body had to change to birth children into the world. Yeah, the hardest thing to overcome is a low body and physical attractiveness mindset. Big things that I would suggest to help you get in a better place is, one, cutting out the, bad self-talk, honestly not allowing it. just being like, I refuse to let me or anyone around me talk like that. And even if there is some type of thing you have to do, like a bad body thought jar or something where it's like when you have those thoughts, you got to pay up, or I don't know what it is. Something like that can be really great. I always say this, but fake it till you make it affirmations are great. I call them fake it till you make it affirmations because when you start using affirmations on something that, you're not very good at, like say talking about yourself positively, at first you're going to say them and not believe them, right? Like I've got one on my mirror that says you're magical, right? That I got right after I left my husband, and trust me, I was not feeling magical at all. I put it on my mirror and I said it to myself every day after getting dressed. I'd look in the mirror, I'd look at the thing, and then I'd say to myself, you are magical. First 2 months, I probably just said it and then thought, you're a fucking loser. You're an idiot. What is this? And yeah, it takes a while before you start actually taking it in. But you got to start somewhere. So maybe popping something on your mirror to say to yourself every day. I would get rid of all the clothes in your cupboard that don't make you feel good. I'd get rid of makeup and accessories and anything else that, maybe doesn't make you feel the best or you don't reach for it. I would choose one thing in your life that you could start doing to kind of do some self-care back into you, whether that's, I'm going to make it so that every time I wash my hair, I'm going to blow dry it straight after so I have nice hair, or I'm going to put on lipstick every single day, or I'm going to go for a walk twice a week around my neighborhood with my dog, or I'm going to start getting my toenails painted once a month. I don't know, whatever it is, just something like that is, helps. And then my final thing would be just give yourself grace. It's probably not going to change overnight, but also if you do nothing, nothing's going to change. So it might take a while. And I say that as someone who had an eating disorder in high school and still has really low periods in her life. It can take a really long while, but you don't have to feel that way forever. The power really does come down to you. And that's one thing you got to realize. You got to take that external power away. So feeling unattractive because you think others think you're unattractive, or you're worried about the opinions of others, and you need to really introvert it and really start to take that power back to you. And you need to do what makes you feel attractive and you feel good, and not worry about other people, which is much easier said than done. Oh, I'm sorry, girl. This one I do not understand. I can't seem to get over my ex, and I'm scared I won't find a love like I had with him again. I'm the wrong girl. When an ex is an ex, it's boy bye in my life. I am actually scarily good at cutting the cord when it comes to love lost. I just kind of think there's a reason it didn't work out, and there's always, someone else out there, and there's other options, and there's other things to life. I think me looking at this would be like, why do you think you don't deserve to find a love you had with him again? Why do you think you wouldn't be able to find that with someone else? I think this has really little to do with him and a lot to do with you. And I'd also say they're an ex for a reason, right? Either you broke up with them for a reason, or they broke up with you. And then in that case, why do you want someone who doesn't want you? And why do you think you deserve to be with someone who doesn't want you, full-heartedly? That's a big one. But I would be, really internally switching that and being like, okay, why do I think that I'm not deserving of finding a beautiful, healthy, full love? And so I have to settle for my ex-partner who it didn't work out with. Again, though, I'm very biased because I've never gone back to an ex. I'm very good at just cutting the cord, and I don't know. I don't linger. I don't linger on men. It's actually, I think, one of the good things about my autism. I didn't know it was autism in the past, but now I know it's autism. I'm not a lingerer. I'm not a go back to my ex girl. My brain just doesn't work that way. Someone asked, do you ever watch porn? Not really. Not traditional porn. No. I just don't like it. I find it a bit icky. I find it not very stimulating. I think, I don't know. I look at a lot of the actors actors, is that right? Performers? I don't know. And I just don't feel very attracted to them. It feels very male-centric. I think that's why I really love romance books. One, I get to imagine how the people look in my own head. And 2, it's very female focused, right? I also feel like it's very quick. And that makes me feel a bit like, whoa. I like in the romance book, you got chapters of like the emotional connection and build up, and porn doesn't really have that. Like, I'm not against it. As long as it's consensual, great. It's just not something that I'm personally drawn to. But I think it's totally fine for women to watch porn. If you're into it, go off, Queenie. I love that for you. Live your best life. I just personally, am not really drawn to it. Someone said, embarrassed to suggest toys in the bedroom. This is kind of going off the other one. Absolutely do not be. Not just saying this, like you need to get a libido if you want to like introduce toys in the bedroom. That is one of the easiest toys to introduce because you use it with your partner while they're doing stuff. So like you can be in doggy or like a position that doesn't have any stimulation and then just like add it in and then the both of you get to enjoy it together. I think he will really like it too, because if you are climaxing a lot, you're wanting to have sex a lot. Okay. So that is a great way to position it. I think a really easy way to start suggesting it is like, why don't you send some reels from like, say, the libido page, all the reels I make about the stuff I use in the bedroom. Just send them to your partner. Don't even write a caption. Just send it. See what they say. It's a great conversation starter. I think if they're your partner, you shouldn't feel awkward about communicating your sexual needs. It should be a pillar of your relationship. And if it's not, it should be something you should be working towards. Pregnant with absolutely no sex drive and having 2 kids already. What is wrong with me? Absolutely nothing. It's very normal to not want to have sex during pregnancy. You're uncomfortable. Your hormones are all over the shop. You're not in your live, laugh, love best season of life, or I wasn't. Here's a fun fact. I didn't have sex once during either of my pregnancies, or if I did, I had it once, maybe twice. I was so sick that sex was just not on the cards. So I had sex-free pregnancies, 18 months all up of absolutely no pretty much intimacy. That's okay. It's a lot to bring a baby into the world. And honestly, your partner should be able to survive 1 pregnancy, 2 pregnancies, whatever, without intimacy, because you're both getting the reward of it at the end. It's not forever. I promise you one day you will be back to wanting sex, okay? We are sexual beings. It is one of our needs. It is something that's important to us. We're taking a quick little after dark pause to tell you about Libido's Melt, the candle that sets the mood and turns into the most luxe massage oil when melted. It smells divine, feels even better, and brings just the right kind of heat to the bedroom. Libido is all about turning everyday intimacy into something sensual, beautiful, and totally shame-free. The code UPB20 gets you a cheeky discount. UPB20. Don't be scared, ladies. Go light it up. Or check out their entire pleasure range at www.mylbdo.com. I'll leave a link in the show notes. Okay, now that we've talked about turning the lights down low, let's turn the tea back up. Oh, I have PND. I'm 8 months postpartum and it's worse than ever. I'm ready to up and leave my entire family. First up, I'm so sorry that you're feeling that way, and I completely understand why you think about this, but you don't want to say it out loud. Postnatal depression, for me, was one of the most shameful things I've ever gone through. And I had lots of thoughts and ideas that I never talked to anyone about and never wanted to talk to anyone about because they felt very embarrassing. And they made me think that, something was very, very wrong with me and I was a bad person and a bad mother. And I just felt a lot of shame about it. I too had times where I wanted to up and leave my entire family. I thought about getting in my car and just driving and never coming back. I would say, first up, are you getting help? If not, I think it's definitely time to go into your GP and discuss how you're feeling and start discussing some options of what you can do to start feeling better, because you're not meant to feel that way. It's not normal to feel that way. Postpartum depression is not something that you just have to put up with. You are allowed and should get treatment for it. It's also normal to, even 8 months after having a baby, still feel sad. I still felt sad 12 months after having a baby. That's okay. It doesn't mean there's something wrong with you. Postnatal depression is up to 2 years after having a child. So you're definitely still in the normal range to get low and sad. I would be asking, have you described how you're feeling to your partner? Maybe to a parent, if you have, close relationships with your parents, to some friends. I found just being honest about how I was feeling really helpful. I think you are holding a lot of shame that you don't need to, okay? Because postpartum depression is very complex, it's very hormonal, and it's completely out of your control, right? No one wants to feel that way. No one wants to feel like they want to just up and leave their family. You're not doing that by choice. You're not sitting there being like, oh, I want to be a person who thinks about leaving this baby that I, tried my hardest to get, and, a husband that I loved. And first off, take the internal guilt and shame out of it. And second up, ask for help. Or if you've already asked for help, ask for more. It's okay. It's okay to need more. It's okay to need more help. Okay. There's not a limit with your loved ones on how much support and love you need. Okay. It's not like if you ask once, you can't ask again. Someone said, I'm debt free now. What do I do? Oh my God, enjoy not having any anxiety about debt. That would be beautiful. It sounds amazing. Celebrate yourself for getting debt free. That's really hard. So yeah, I don't know. I would be ecstatic to have not a single bit of debt. Like, I'm reading this as like maybe not even a mortgage, which would be insane and amazing and go off you. Enjoy all your hard work and the repercussions of that. Someone said, how do I tell a friend she shouldn't get married because he's not a nice person, but I'm scared to lose her friendship? This is so hard because I've had friends where I've not enjoyed their partner, and it is a big risk, right? Like, if you start expressing that, who knows? Like, if they're getting married, like, she might push you away and lean more into him. Like, that's always the risk, right? If you express negative emotions about stuff, is like the other person cutting you out or pulling away, which is really, really hard and really, really tough. I think, gosh, the how to comes down to the relationship. What type of relationship do you have? I think a really important way to do it could be like, I'm telling you this from a place of love, and I'm telling you that I will be there for you and support you even if you don't take my advice on board. But I would feel like I wasn't a good friend to you if I didn't express this, but I don't think that person X, Y, and Z is the person for you. Are you sure that this is the decision you want to be making? Again, that doesn't mean that that person's going to take it well. Have you discussed this with other people in their life? Like, is this a perspective that is shared by a few others? Like, you don't want to gang up, but sometimes, power in numbers, by expressing that it's not just you that believes that. I would, if you're going to say he's not a nice person, make sure you come with like really strong examples of, when he has not been a nice person, rather than just like a waffy, like, oh, he's not nice. It's like, I don't like when he did X, Y, Z. I don't believe he handled this correctly. I don't, you need to go in with very specific examples. I don't know. It's a really hard one, and it's such a hard line to cross. And it's like, you want to say something, you don't want to say something. I guess as well, it would be like, if she's in danger, or if you feel like it's really going to be a bad mistake. In my opinion, if the person was in danger and it was a really bad relationship, I would risk losing them just so I knew that I did everything I could to protect them and stop that happening. And I guess that would be just like a very selfless form of love, of like, okay, I know that this might lose our friendship, but I know that if I truly love you, I need to say this, and come what may, the results of it, but at least I know that I tried everything I could to stop it. But yeah, again, it's very situational. Someone said, disliking my sister-in-law and her partner. Cannot relate on anything but have to fake it to keep the peace. Oh no. Ay. I don't know, because I've never had a sister-in-law before. I married someone with all brothers. So yeah, I feel like that would be so hard if you didn't like the sister-in-law and the partner. I think it would be also really hard if your partner is very close with his sister, right? Like, then you've got to see them all the time. It sucks like when you're with someone and then you meet their friends and you don't really like their friends, or like you don't get on with anyone, or that's really hard. Have you expressed to your partner that you feel a bit disconnected from his sister and gauged the reaction on that? Does she want to be friends with you? Do you feel like it's like a mutual, like she's also not that interested? Or is it like she wants to be besties and you're there like, because it says, I have to fake it to keep the peace. So it makes me feel like she is kind of expressing that she wants to be friends. It's really hard because that's family. And if you're married, like they're going to be around forever, right? They're going to be around forever. Like family of a partner is very important to me because, they're going to be in your life all day, every day for the rest of forever. I don't know how to do this one because like the only option is like keep faking it, express that you don't feel the same connection and it be very awkward, or just like drift away, but then you're losing that side of the family. Very, very complicated. I think it's okay if like your partner's on the same page. Like if there's some tension within family and you discuss it with your partner and like, look, I just don't get along with your sister. And he's like, oh yeah, I understand. Like can be a bit difficult sometimes, or yeah, I understand where you're coming from. I validate where you're feeling, but can we just put it aside, for the sake of my family? Then you feel a bit affirmed, right? You feel supported in a way. You feel like they understand where you're coming from. And then maybe it's a bit easier to be like, okay, yeah, I'll just suck it up, and then, they know what page you're on and they might not invite the sister over all the time or whatever. But if you're not telling anyone, it's very hard and can feel very invalidating. Someone said, I think I've outgrown my best friend and feel sad that I don't feel as close to her anymore. It happens. Unfortunately, I can speak from firsthand experience. It does happen. It is very sad, but also just because you outgrow one friend doesn't mean you can't make more, right? You can sometimes let go of a friendship to make room for an even better, more fulfilling friendship. You don't have to stay with people out of, the idea of like, well, we've been friends forever, so we have to be friends forever. That's very romanticized, but it's not always realistic. I would also say, have you tried to discuss these changes? Is it something that maybe you guys could fix together or work on together? Or you just feel like you're at completely different stages of life and you could never rematch or get on track? It is sad when you feel like someone who used to be really special to you is not really that person for you anymore. I don't know. It's really hard. I think it comes down to a lot of thinking, a lot of reflecting, and also you need to find peace with the idea that you don't have to just have one person be with you forever. Like you don't have to just have one best friend and you can never let go and move on. Like you're allowed to change and grow. And just because you have one friendship fall away doesn't mean you won't ever find another great friendship again. Someone said, how do we tell our friends about their partners cheating? What do you mean, sis? You just tell them. If one of my friends, I knew their partner was cheating, I would probably text them and be like, hey, are you at home today at some point? Like, I just need to come round and have a chat with you. And then I would go to their house. I would make sure their partner wasn't there. I would sit down and very gently say, I need to tell you this, but your partner is cheating on you. All right. And then I would give them a little hug and then kind of go from there. What do you want to do about this? Do you want me to stay? You want me to go? How do you want to address this? And I would just be there for them. But I would tell them ASAP. I would not be delaying the telling in any way, shape or form. It's absolutely horrible to have to break that news to someone. But let me tell you, it would be more horrible if they found out through someone else and then found out that you knew and you didn't tell them. That would be way more heartbreaking than you having to tell them. Do not just sit on that information. Get it out as soon as possible. I mean, within days. If it was me and I found out the partner was cheating within the hour, I would be settling some scores and telling straight away in a very gentle, supportive way. But trust me, they'd be knowing. Someone said struggling to agree on parenting styles. That is very challenging. Very, very challenging one to come to. The only thing that you can get around that with is just communication. Just discussing why they believe in certain parenting styles, why it doesn't align with you, and how you can kind of find a medium ground. I would be, finding maybe some studies or literature that backs up your chosen style of parenting and explaining why you think it's, the most ideal, best style, and putting that to them. If they do not come back with any type of evidence or support for their parenting style, I'd be saying, are you really that committed to it? Because you haven't even looked in to see if it's like a good parenting style or not, I think, it just comes down to a lot of discussion, a lot of talking, maybe couples therapy or family therapy. That is a thing that you can go to if you feel like it's a big enough issue that you really clash on some major, major issues. I would be maybe suggesting that, or looking at a way to get like a third party mediator in to kind of discuss it with you. Yeah, I'm not sure because I've not had this problem. Luckily, even as exes, my co-parent and I have very similar ideals around most things to do with parenting. Someone said, why do I never feel close to my friends? I always feel like I am competing with them or that they are judging me. The competing thing is a bit concerning, especially if we're talking female friends. There might be a little bit of internalized misogyny that you might need to unpack. If you feel like they're always judging you, I would then question how strong these friendships are and how good of a friend these friends are. If you feel like they're always judging you, like there's sometimes judgment in friendship. Sometimes my friends tell me things and I'm like, girl, what are you doing? But like, if you feel like your friends are constantly judging you, are they your friends? If they just feel like there is so much negative expectation on you all the time, I would question if they're really your friends. I would also feel like if you feel like you're constantly competing with your friends, do you even think they're your friends? I don't know. I don't really feel competitive with friends. So I would wonder if you need to reflect on the people that you even consider friends. Are they your friends? Because I would question maybe they're not. Someone has asked about intimacy after having kids. How many times a month is healthy? I'm happy with 2 to 3 times per month, but he wants it weekly. 4 kids, I'm tired. When due for monthlies, I am not in the mood. I think there is no right answer to how many times a month is healthy, right? It's so dependent on the couple and what is needed in the relationship. I think it really depends person to person. I think though, it's not like just because one partner wants it a certain amount of times does not mean that need has to be met, right? It's just the reality of it. You're in a consensual relationship. That sometimes means the person wants to say no and they're not going to meet your needs. And if you're not okay with that, you probably should not be in a relationship. Okay, because that's scary. If you can't accept that sometimes people are going to say no and they don't want to be intimate with you. I think it's totally okay to be tired and go through seasons where maybe you don't want intimacy as much. I would then put to him, what are some things he could do to help you so you're not so tired all the time and then therefore you want to be intimate more? What are some things you can do as a couple to increase your intimacy with each other? I feel like this is getting put on a very much of like you're the problem, but intimacy in a relationship is never just a one-person problem. It's definitely a collaborative issue that you both can tackle and get you where you want to be. Someone said they feel sad that their life will never be more than it is now because I had kids so young. I don't buy into this, that because you had kids young, you can't progress or your life is somehow like less fulfilling than people who didn't have kids young. I think you can still do really beautiful, amazing things and have a young family and be a young family. Don't forget, you're going to be much earlier into the like empty nester stage than a lot of people So you still have quite a few years coming up that you will not have kids in your home. So just remember, you're comparing yourself to people who have had all of their kid-free years like at once, whereas yours are kind of coming later, right? So that you're in different periods of life and you've had different timelines, and so you can't really compare. But I just think you can have and do really amazing things with kids. I think if you want it bad enough, you can progress your life. I also think it's very easy, and I fall victim to it too, when your kids are really little, to fall into the mindset of like, this is going to be forever, right? Like when you have toddlers, it feels like you're going to have toddlers for the next 18 years. And I don't know, it doesn't click in my brain. Sometimes I'm like, oh, like one day they're going to be a bit more independent and a bit more regulated and be able to do more things, right? Like they'll be able to dress themselves. They'll be able to make some foods for themselves. They'll be able to like play be by themselves in their room, like read a book or play with some toys, and I won't have to like constantly supervise them because they'll be like 10 or 11 and can do their own thing, you know? It feels very easy to feel like you are going to be stuck in the toddler stage forever, and you're not. Someone said, feeling stuck in a relationship because I have kids with them. You are never stuck in any relationship, and I can vouch for that firsthand. You can leave a relationship. Just because you have kids with them does not mean it is like some shackle that bounds you to them romantically forever. Unfortunately, when you reproduce with someone, you are shackled to them in some capacity forever, right? You have kids together. So you got to co-parent, hopefully, forever, or they're going to be involved in your life and you're going to be in relationship with them in some capacity forever. Romantically though, no, you do not have to put up with something or be in a relationship that makes you unhappy just because you had kids with them, okay? It's 2025. There are options. There is, Centrelink. There are places to go. You can leave, right? So don't get stuck into the mindset that you just need to be in a relationship because you've had kids with someone. Because let me tell you, if you're feeling that now, you're probably still going to be feeling that in 10, 15 years time, except you're going to be 10 to 15 years down the track thinking, fuck, I should have done this 10 to 15 years ago. Sometimes things don't work out and sometimes people aren't meant for each other. That's okay. It's hard. It's a hard pill to swallow. It can be very confusing, but it's okay. And I am grateful that I didn't stay in a relationship just because I had children with the person. I'm glad that I decided to prioritize myself and move on. Someone said something I often think about, but I'm too scared to talk about. 2 under 2 life. Oh, mama. 2 under 2 was one of the hardest fucking things I've ever done in my life. Amazing now that my kids are a little bit older, and I'm sure it's just going to keep getting more amazing as they get older. But that first year of, 2 under 2, oh my good God, how I did not jump off something tall is beyond me because it was so freaking hard. You have 2 children who are so dependent on you. You need to change their nappies still. You need to feed them, like consciously really watch them, feed them. They cannot really play independently too much. They can't interact with each other. So you're not getting the feedback of like nicely watching them be siblings and have fun together. Like it is something where it's like you are just give, and you're not really getting much back in return. And that can be really, really hard. I think people really underestimate as well the toll it takes on your body to have 2 babies in 2 years. It's fucked. Okay. It's a lot. It's hard work. Everything felt like it was sore and broken after I had Benny. I was like, oh my God, my body was not meant to be having another baby this soon. Like it is really, really hard work. And I know that when you express that, people shame you for it. The internet, social media shames you for when you're having a hard time with kids. Society, your friends, your family, they shame you. It's really hard. But I guarantee you, if you bring it up with any under 2 mum, we're all going to be like, yeah, that was a rough time. That was not a fun time. Because it's not fun at first. Like that's just the honest truth. It is not fun at first. It is amazing. It is incredible. I'm very lucky that I could have babies. I love my age gap now. It was not fun at first. And I think we need to be more honest about that and let people go in with the expectation that it's going to be really hard work at first. And that's okay. It's just the season. It is what it is. And it does eventually get easier and better. It's just really freaking hard at first, okay? Alrighty, I like to keep the After Dark episodes nice and short and snappy. They're just meant to be a bonus ep, okay? So I really enjoyed talking about some of those topics. I hope I didn't hurt anyone's feelings. I hope I wasn't too blunt. I hope maybe I said some insightful and helpful things. And until the next After Dark episode, that's us. That's this. The next After Dark episode, you guys are definitely going to love and going to want to tune in for, okay? It's coming in a couple of weeks and I think you'll be very, very interested in it. But until then, I will see you back in our normal season next Wednesday, 6 p.m. All right. Love you guys. Sweet dreams.